Welcome to K-Wave 6 Radio, your show for all things positive, with your host, Kirk Spencer. And good morning. Welcome to K-Wave 6 Radio. We're being hosted by Freedom Talk Radio and SETV. Just saying a shout out to them. And also want to take a moment just to say hi to some people that I know that are listening in every now and then, and one who I was talking to this morning, kind of like my adopted sister, Kim, over there in the United States. I won't say where in the United States, but anyway, Kim, good morning. And some friends that I have over in Germany, Luigi and Marion. They're kind of like my extended family over there. And if you'd like to have your name read out on the air, just send me a little message over to info@kwave6radio.tk. Yep, that's the address, info@kwave6radio.tk. Anyway, we do have our guest today, who is another extended family member. This is my dear friend, Coach Rea Wilke. If you haven't read her bio, she gave me a whole bio to put on the Blog Talk screen, and there wasn't enough room, so I just put in there the best I could. So, anyway, she's a multi-talented, very sweet, very loving woman who is a coach, life coach, business coach. She does actually the music that you heard for this show. She's the one who created the music. So she does a little bit of everything, but she does coaching very excellently. So this is what the show is about today, and the topic she's chosen to talk about, because how people come up with New Year's resolutions around this day, or should I say around this time of the year. And, well, if you've done them, you more than likely made the resolutions before New Year's. And as soon as the New Year's comes around, you're trying to sober up from New Year's Eve party and whatever happens, and then reality sets in and goes, no, it's not going to happen today. So Coach Rea, who is here, she chuckled in the background just a moment ago. She's going to talk about all that. So welcome to the show, Coach Rea.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be on your show. Pleasure having myself in there. I always say that, being the host. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Good morning.
It's
I'm
weird.
still on my second cup of coffee, so this is like, the morning thing for me. I haven't talked much, so.
Well, it's all right. I understand. You remember that cup I was telling you about? I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, the one that I bought, and I forgot that I had bought it, and I had to go check online to see what I bought instead of just getting up and going to the kitchen to find out. The sucker is basically, it's a latte cup, if anybody knows what a latte cup is. It looks like a bowl with a finger grip on it. So I'm sitting up here drinking my big cup of coffee. Just hope it doesn't affect me later on in the show, but we'll find out. Anyway, yeah, I understand that. So, you're at least at 9 o'clock. I'm still sitting here at 8 o'clock. So, yeah, we're going to make it through. By the way, just as we're getting started here, we do have the chat room open, so if you have questions or comments you want to throw in, go ahead and send it through chat. And I'm going to ask as my guest, Coach, do you want to open the phone lines up in the last half an hour of the show? That'll be your call.
That's fine. That would be fine. Yeah, I would love to answer any questions. I'd like to start with a quote from Jim Rohn, and I think that would be a good start to the show, if you don't mind.
Sure, go for it.
Jim Rohn, I quote, he said, "One of the amazing things we have been given as a human is the unquenchable desire to have dreams of a better life and the ability to establish goals to live out those dreams. We can look deep within our hearts and dream for a better situation for ourselves and our families. dream a better financial life and better emotional or physical life. Certainly, dream of a better spiritual life. But what makes this even more powerful is what we have also been given the ability not only to dream, but to pursue those dreams, and not only to pursue them, but we have the cognitive ability to actually lay out a plan and strategies, which is, again, setting goals to achieve those dreams. Very powerful. Thank you, Jim Rohn. Well, it's not all his quote, but in the beginning it is. But I thought that would be a good, start for the show. Hello?
Please stay tuned. We're suffering technical difficulties, but we'll be right back. Hello, I'm assuming we're back. The first and only time, it's the only problem with doing a live show on the internet, is the first time this year my browser has actually crashed. First time. And it had to be right in the middle of a show. So anyway, let's see if we can get Coach Rea back on the line. Please stay tuned for a moment, and let's see if we can reestablish a connection with her. I know she was doing a little read on a quotation, and I'm just sitting here looking at my screen, and this little baby just went bye-bye. Anyway, hold on. We'll be right back. While we wait for our guest to connect, let me remind you about our Thoughts for Growth podcast. Our Thoughts for Growth episodes are 3 to 5 minute thoughts which are inspirational, motivational, and or thought-provoking. K-Wave 6 Radio is dedicated to bringing positive programming in all that we do. Thoughts for Growth airs on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern on Podomatic.com, iTunes, Stitcher.com, on our RSS feed, and on YouTube. Be sure to follow our blog. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. All of our links to follow and our media players can be found at www.kwave6radio.tk. That's Kwave6 with the number 6, radio.tk, or, if you prefer, www.kwave6radio.wordpress.com.
What's up?
Think of the future that we could create. Face the facts today. There's a better way. There's a better way. Take one step back and say there's a better way. There's a better way.
Well, Coach Rea keeps calling back and then hanging up, so let's try one more time. Let's give it about 20 seconds to see if she can call back again. Hold on just a moment.
freedomtalkradio.co.uk.
Let's go!
This is the most diverse, most amazing, one of the funniest radio stations you could ever listen to on the internet. I've heard so much stuff from the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights.
The politics, the non-politics, the schmolitics, whatever you want to call them.
It's great. freedomtalkradio.co.uk. This is the most diverse, most amazing, one of the funniest radio stations you could ever listen to on the internet. I've heard so much stuff from the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the politics, the non-politics, the schmolitics, whatever you want to call them. It's great.
Hello, Coach.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're back on the
I
air.
have no idea what happened. I guess this is the technology for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm back.
Yeah, that's all right. As was saying when I came back on, said I was sitting here just letting you read your quote, which we're going to let you start with that one again. I was sitting here watching the screen, and I had actually muted my mic just so I could cough and clear my throat. And next thing I know, the screen drops, and I go, first time this year my browser crashed. First time. Here we are in the 12th month of the year, and this is the first time my browser crashed.
Oh, so it was probably, that's okay. I wasn't sure whose end was, I was trying to figure it out, but here we are. We're back on the air, and thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be on your show. And so would you like me to read that quote again?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure having you here, and let's let you start right there from where we left off before browser just went, adios, we're going to interrupt your show. So, yeah, go ahead.
That's what happened with live shows, so, yes, I understand completely. So, today we're talking about looking back and moving forward, hopefully, with ease. So, one of my inspirational author and motivational, personality is Jim Rohn. And one of the things that he said, one of the amazing things we have been given as humans is the unquenchable desire to have dreams of a better life and the ability to establish goals to live out those dreams. So we can look deep within our hearts and dream for a better situation for ourselves and our families. Dream of a better financial life and a better emotional or physical life. Certainly dream of a better spiritual life. But what makes this even more powerful is that we have also been given the ability to not only dream, but to pursue those dreams. Excuse me. And not only to pursue them, but we have the cognitive ability to actually lay out a plan and strategies, which I call them setting goals, to achieve those dreams. Very powerful. And so that's how I wanted to, start the show. I think it's relevant. And, of course, Earl Nightingale, I can't even speak. People with goals succeed because they know where they are going. It's simple as that. Period.
There you go. It's just one of those things of where do you want to be? And I'm going to add my little twist in here and let you run with it because, I can't interview Coach Rea because we talk all the time. How am I going to interview somebody I already know? So we're just going to have a conversation here. But the goal, with the purpose of the show here and something that both of us have learned just from being with people that are goal setters and people who actually reach their goals is to focus on what you want instead of focusing on what you don't have and worrying about what happened in the past or what could happen in the future. Because as one expression that I have, and it's not a quote, well, it's a quote, but it's very short. Worrying is like praying for what you don't want. So what do you think about that, Coach?
Absolutely. And if I may add, one of the things, no matter where you are and no matter what time of the year, no matter how far you dig yourself in the hole, if you put that shovel down, you actually will start finding your way out. So you start from where you are. That's the key. We can wish-wash for a lot of things, but the thing is, you got to come back to this present moment, to right now, okay? And, of course, you and I would talk about what the outlines for the show, and I said, let's talk about, some of the things that happen, and let's see how we can move forward. So looking back and moving forward. But in order for you to move forward, you got to look at, where you're standing. In order for us to move forward, we need to make sure there is, because life is going to throw a lot of things at you. It doesn't matter what time of year. These things, they don't wait, you know what, it's New Year's and New Year's resolution, so it's going to be okay. You can set goals and you're going to achieve them. It's not as simple as that. If it's simple as that, then everybody will be very successful. and everybody will have everything they want. But the problem why we don't get what we want is, first of all, what you just said, we're not clear. We're not clear on what we want and why do we want it. I mean, that's the key. Is like when I set goal, and I've learned this for years. I mean, you know, on LinkedIn, people are saying congratulations. I didn't even realize this is my 6 years in my company. I built my company and founded it 6 years ago. And I have to tell you, I have been in goal setting for many, many years, coming from corporate sales and et cetera. But the thing is, if you don't get clear on what the goal is and what the goal is going to do for you and be specific on it, you will not be able to move on with that goal and to accomplish.
Right, let me ask you a question here, because for those who don't know about Coach Rea, I don't know how much she wants to tell about her history, but she went from college straight into the U.S. Department of Commerce. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you start from there, what you did? Because talking about, I'm doing this because some people will go, well, okay, what did she do before her 6 years of starting Your Life Now LLC? So what did you do before? And let's just start from there.
Well, I paved the way to where I am right now. So it started,
Exactly.
with first, yeah, exactly. Coming here, right out of high school to, I don't want to say, how long ago, because then I'm giving my age away. I'm still young, but, age is just a number. But the thing is, I came here and I was very determined that I needed to make it and I wanted to be successful. I had that mentality. I had that mindset, so it was really there first. So I didn't have to work on that. Some of us have to work on that to get that mindset. So, so I was determined. I got into college and I graduated and I got recruited to work for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce as a membership, agent to sell membership to businesses for the Chamber of Commerce. And, but that was like my first doors into like the world of sales and marketing and learning the B2B, businesses and how do you communicate with people, because the key to success, I want to start this because it's really, really important. The two main ingredients for success is communication and relationship. So building communication, having the right communication, knowing how to talk to people, how to present what you want to present, how do you present what you want to sell, and then also building relationships. So those are the two things. So from that point on, I went on to start working in corporate. I left the U.S. Chamber of Commerce because it was out of my college. It was a great, credentials, and moved on to work in advertising, and then I went on to working in telecom, all as a corporate sales executive for major corporations.
Let me pause you there for a second, because regardless of when you came here, English is your second or third language?
Almost third language. So yes, that was an obstacle.
No.
Yes.
The point that I want to bring out is that you had an obstacle, you overcame it, and became successful in all that you did that followed.
Right.
That's what I really want to bring out, because we're talking about planning ahead, and people like to focus on, well, I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I have this obstacle in the way, and I don't know how to do it. And you're just going, I'm here, I have to learn the language, and you did it in how many years?
I was the first in they, that's what they said, and I'm not here to brag about myself. I think every one of us has the ability to do much more than what I did. But the thing is, I'm a people person, and I was always been doing things publicly, whether it's theater, music, modeling, doing a lot of different things. So I've always known that I had to be in that public, presenting something. So from that perspective, I knew I needed, to speak, because that's the first thing before I even write or read. And the first thing that, of course, I was fortunate, and I always say, you've got to give thanks to the people who paved the way for you. So there was a lot of people in my life that came in at that time that really helped me out. And one of them, it was the exchange student, family that I lived with in the beginning. The lady was a professor at Columbia, and she was an English professor, and she pushed me so hard to keep on doing what I didn't want to do, which is like talk on the phone or answer the phone or trying to start a conversation. And I was like terrified. I'm like, I can't do that. I just can't. And I didn't want people to laugh at me. I didn't want people to because I had a very heavy accent too. So every time I opened my mouth, people just love how I sounded, right? So in the beginning, it was terrifying. But in later on, I realized it's like, you know what? That's actually an advantage. I stood out. I made I had a place for myself. Don't be normal. Don't be just like somebody who's going to fit in like in the crowd and nobody's going to notice you. You want to be noticed. And the only way that you can be noticed to realize life will always throw obstacles at you. So your whole goal is to figure out how to overcome these obstacles and take that action step toward that goal that you want.
Indeed. And that's the point I wanted to bring out. I'm sorry for interrupting your train of thought earlier, but please do continue from there.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's, how my journey started. And then later on, I got laid off. And you would think like salespeople would be the last people to get laid off. I was a sales manager. I was the top. I actually am still looking in my office here at the trophies that I've gotten for my team. We represented, the company top team in the country, and I pride myself being that manager for that, for that team. And I got laid off, so it was time for me to go back to the drawing board and start writing things down and start thinking about what is matter to me. What do I want? What do I really want? And why do I want it? And that's what I try to teach. It's not just setting goals. It's not just like, oh, I want to be so successful. Oh, I just want to have a lot of money. Oh, I just do. And don't we all hear that all the time? But we never hear just say, you know what? I would really like to, start a company. Because, and I would start listing why I want to start my own company. So at that time, I was doing a lot of research and I was doing a lot of things. And I think one of the powerful practice that I teach, and I really swear by it, is writing things down. You got to write things down. Start a journal, start a notebook, start a successful notebook for yourself. If you haven't done it in the past, start now and start writing things down, because ideas come all the time. And those ideas will remain ideas until you really start working them and figure out how you can make those ideas real. So, from that perspective, I start, looking into, because I was training, I was teaching, I was doing what I do right now already in one of my old companies that I worked for. And then so I realized that things start popping up. I call myself the manifesto queen, because I manifested a lot of things in my life. And I can tell you, not by accident, really not by accident, because I was very specific and I was very determined and I had a clear pictures. And I always say, if you want to look at your life, or you want to know what your life looks like, just imagine, if you can close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself, you have a piece of art right in front of you, right? And now your eyes are closed, and then you're trying to picture that piece of art that you have on that wall, and that piece of art represents your life. And start in your mind, start seeing these things. Start put things in place. Say, you know what, this is where I am, and this is where I like my life to be, right? So if you can broaden your imagination, and if you can broaden your mind to look beyond the limitation, beyond like I can't do that, beyond the obstacles, you will be able to create a masterpiece. There is no doubt about it.
Indeed. I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and the key points that I'm hearing, and there's one friend that I really hope that she's listening to this, is that you found that instead of trying to blend in, you noticed that you had an accent in your voice. Right now, the only accent I can hear is that East Coast accent. But okay, back then, you live over there in New York area, so yeah, you got that New York accent. But you realize that yes, I am unique. Let me use that towards my advantage, and people can actually recognize you and hear your voice and go, oh, it's Rea, cool, yeah, I want to talk to her, or whatever the case may be, and you have that bubbly, vivacious personality, the one I've known for what, 2-3 years now, and so on and so forth. So it's like you use some of these things that you consider to be a disadvantage, you use it for your advantage in saying, see, I'm a unique person, and I am happy with me, I love me, and I can share this with you.
You know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and I thank you for your compliment. And you know what? I really turned that obstacle into the advantage, believe it or not. When I realized people were actually enjoying, like they found it to be like, oh my God, that's so cool. You know, that is so, like she has this accent, and my accent was really, really heavy. And, you know, the things that I used to be afraid of, I was using it as an advantage. So, like, you know, I'm like, okay, so, you know, what are the things that I start learning? I mean, now I host my own radio show. I'm on the air. I speak to people. Yep. If you had told me that, you know, back then you would say, like, oh, you kidding me? There is no way you would be doing that. But because of the way I start realizing, you know what, this is what makes me who I am. Because we are all, each one of us is unique in our own special way. If you allow that unique personality, that unique person that you are to disappear and get, you know, lost in the crowd, doesn't make you unique anymore. It makes you an average. It makes you just like everybody else.
Indeed. Yeah, and nobody wants the same as everybody else. You know, okay, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm looking for something special, and all you see is the same stuff. Well, I don't want that. I want something that stands out. I want something that, if it's food, I want something that's really different from what I'm usually getting. It's kind of like the difference between going to McDonald's and going to a specialized restaurant that maybe cost around the same amount of money, but you can actually have it that's homemade. And here in Mexico, that's one of the things that we really like is we have these things called comida económicas. Now, you can go to a restaurant and get a huge meal for something that cost 350 pesos, which is only like $30. Or you can go to a comida económica. It's all homemade stuff made right there in front of you, and it tastes better than the usually big restaurants, but it only costs 35 pesos, which is roughly $30. I mean, $3. You know, so in matter of fact, down here, McDonald's, to get a hamburger, fries, and let's just say a soft drink would cost you 100 pesos, which is around $10. But you can go to some place that gives you homemade food for 1/3 the price.
Interesting. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a standout thing. You know, it depends on what you want. If you just want something that's fast food and, okay, it's all the same, all the burgers are the same, all the fries are the same, okay, that's fine. That's what you want, have it. But if you want something that stands out and is cheaper, you can always go for something that's better.
I love what you just said, and that's such a simple way to actually explain, and I love that. Thank you for doing that, because you know what? Maybe that uniqueness and that whatever it is, it's not for you, and that's okay. If you just want to be average and you're happy with being an average person, that is okay. It's by choice. We live by choice. You know, so if you make that choice and you can live with it and you're happy with it, then you know what? Then that's your thing. We're here to talk about the people who are the doer and people who really want to do more. They want to achieve more, and they want to, figure out what's going on here. How can I achieve more? How can I be better? How can I actually have my goals set without regrets? Because when we say in looking back and moving forward, if you look back, we're not talking about moving backward here. We're talking about taking what you had learned this year, okay? And it doesn't have to be. I'm really not a big fan of resolutions, New Year's resolution, because I think every day is a brand new day. Every moment is a brand new moment, and you have the opportunity to do something new. So don't get overwhelmed about the fact, that it's like, oh, it's a new year and I got to do something. And people, toward the end of the year, they crunch things down and they try to close down businesses. They need to get numbers and they need to do this and they need to do that. And you just say, okay, let's make sure a plan for the next year. They set their plans, and that's great. That's all goals, whether it's on business level or it's on an individual level. But it starts with the individual. Even a big corporation, when a big CEO or whatever, who sits and start planning their goals for the following year, they measure it. It has to be measured to something else, right? So if this year, this is what we did, well, next year we want to double that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking back to what you have done, but then you're moving forward into doubling what you have done today. So when I mention looking back, I always say try to, again, write things down and just see what worked and what didn't work. And what didn't work, it's an opportunity for you. This is what's the key here, okay? Not what worked. What didn't work, it's an opportunity for you to do something better, okay?
Yep. And with that, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're just going to take a 2-minute break, so stay with us, and we'll be right back with my friend, my guest, Coach Rea Wilke.
Hey, everybody. This is Suzanne Perry, founder of LoveShouldn'tHurt.tv. You're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio.
Hi, this is Amy Young of JSJ Phone. We are providers of junior iPhone, iPad, iPod, also Samsung, Sony, Nokia parts and accessories, and very good quality and low prices. We sell to individuals, and companies have 3 to 5 days delivery time by DHL or UPS. We do delivery in 24 hours after payment confirmed. For more information, see our website www.jsjphone.com www.jsjphone.com. Contact me, Amy Young, mailbox emy@jsjphone.com or by phone 0086 13418696395, by Skype emy.yang2012.
Yes, honey. This is Marlo Wright of mbymarlo.com, and you're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio.
And welcome back. Today my guest is Coach Rea Wilke of Your Life Now, LLC, a life coach, business coach, and host of a Blog Talk radio show by the name of Your Life Now, and so much more. We're back here, but I also want to remind we do have the chat room open, so if you're signed in, you can send us chat messages, and in about a half an hour or so, we will be opening up the phone lines if there's anyone there that wants to have a conversation, ask questions, comments, whatever, with Coach Rea. Anyway, back to Coach Rea. Welcome back, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Before we went on break, you were talking about writing down and your goals and taking the advantage of, well, looking over things that didn't work and taking the, if you will, the advantage of looking at what didn't work for you and then having the advantage of going, well, that didn't work, so how do I make it work, or can I make it work, or was that just a lesson to learn and move forward? You want to pick up from there?
Sure, of course. So, yeah, let me emphasize on this point here, because it's really important. Because most people, when they fail at something, look at Einstein. How many times did he fail before he succeeded, right? And he's like named one of the, the genius in our history. But that's not what we're talking. You don't have to be a genius. I think we all have that in ourselves. But when you look back and you see the things that worked and to see the things that didn't work, let's say, we're looking back at 2014 here, right? So it's whether you are a business or you're looking in your personal life or whatever is going on. So make sure you write what didn't work down. Of course, you got to write what worked down, what worked as well. But your focus is to fix what didn't work. Well, not necessarily fix it, it's make it better or make it workable. That's what we want to do. So when you write things down, just say, for instance, you know what, I wanted to, start this mastermind group, and I wanted to actually have people pay whatever. And, I put it out there, and I put so much money into it, and I really, did this and this, whatever I'm supposed to do, and it didn't pay out, so it was a loss. So take a look at it and just say, why was it a loss? Because how many connections did you make? How many people did you reach? So maybe you want to go back to these people and just say, hey, you know what? I presented this mastermind group to you, and, we are starting up. It's a startup, for us. And we will really appreciate, again, that's what I was just saying in the beginning. Relationships and communication are the key to success. So when you build in these relationships, go back to them, because they'll be more than happy to give you their point of view. Doesn't mean that's what you got to do. It's their point of view. So you're going to ask them, it's like, why did you want to join my mastermind? Guess what? They're going to give you the tools that you need to pick and choose to make that mastermind work next time, right? Because they're going to tell you, well, you know what? I think it was too expensive. I think people don't have the time to meet up, whatever, every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever. Be talking about CEOs and C-level executive, and they don't have the time for that. I'm just saying, as one area here. But when you look at it from that perspective, now you looking at these obstacles or the problems and not succeeding in creating that mastermind as a tool to help you put an action step to make it work next time, if that's what you want. But then, you're going to say to yourself, okay, so why didn't it work? Is it didn't work because I didn't put the dedication and the time to make it work? Is it me? It could be just simple as you. You're not even believing in it to begin with. So in order for you, I'm going back into sales, because no matter what we do in life, we're all selling. Selling. So when you look at it from that perspective and you're trying to sell something, and just say, you know what, if I can't sell myself on this idea or this product or believing in this products or services, there is no way I can get someone else to buy it from me. There isn't. Mm-hmm. So you have to really get in touch with that and realize, would I buy this for, would I join this mastermind? It was somebody else presented to me. If your answer is no, then you got to go back to the drawing board. So your failure. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you a question, because talking about selling, you were a sales manager. I've worked in sales. I did more in marketing than sales. But here's a question I have for you. In sales, part of sales is listening to what the person needs and also answering the questions that make the person go, in other words, okay, why should I take your product over the one that I'm already using? Or why should I take your product over the one that I'm looking at over here?
And that's where your uniqueness, and this is how you differentiate sales and marketing and anything in life. If you don't stand out and present your case Okay? Why wouldn't people want to buy from you? I was faced with this every time. I mean, if any salesperson listening to this show right now and listening to me talking about this, they'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you cannot differentiate yourself, because the competition is huge. The competition in the marketplace is huge. So how do you, but there's a plenty out there too. That's the beauty about this too. There's a plenty out there, but the competition is there. So how do you stand out? What makes somebody wants to do business with you versus somebody else? The second important thing, you cannot sell a solution to nothing that nobody needs. You have to sell a solution to needs. So you got to figure out the needs. So what do you need, Kirk? What can I do for you? How can I help you be successful? What would make you successful? So when I open it up for you and you tell me, you know what, Rea, if you can help me set the right goals for this or do this or whatever, and you start telling me exactly what I can do to help you, I will go back and iterate everything that you said. I say, okay, so Kirk, based on what you told me, you really needed help setting goals. You really needed help figuring out how to take that goal and make it real. So if I can help you do these two things, and I can help you doing them right, efficiently, is there a reason why we can't do business? So now you addressing, needs, and you addressing objections. So if you have a problem with me doing business with me, you're going to tell me, well, I'm sorry, Rea, you guys are very expensive. You're going to, so you're going to tell me what you're objecting to. And I have to tell you, the majority of the time, people think it's the money, the price, and most of the time that's not the case. So if you can figure that out and you can do it by asking the right questions, you will start business and you will succeed and you will accomplish that goal. So, look back at some of the things that you're doing. So no matter what you're doing in your life right now, whether you are a stay-home mom or you're an executive at your own company, what makes you who you are and how did you get there? What steps did you take to get where you are? So if this is the position that you are, the thing is most people don't realize, and Shakespeare said it. He said, I don't remember exact quote, but he said, life is a play, and we all are actors and actresses in life. So you all have a role. We all have our own role. But those roles, they could be forced on us, or they could be made by choice. So the choice is yours. Do you want somebody else to give you your role in life, or do you want to be in control of what role you play in that play called life?
Yeah, it's kind of like, a couple of things that came to mind. Somebody asked Albert Einstein, how does it feel to be a genius? And his reply was, I don't know. You'd have to ask Nikola Tesla.
Amazing.
He admitted his role in life. He's not the genius. He does research. He studies things. He has a curious mind. Nikola Tesla just came up and went, hey, check this out. Boom. There you go.
That's
there
amazing.
is a difference. That everybody cannot be a Donald Trump. Everybody cannot be the president of any country or any corporation. You have a role. There are people. There's a guy that I went to high school with. He says, while everybody else in this class is going off to be in college, and all you guys are going to be, in his words, paper pushers, somebody has to fix your plumbing. So he went to become a plumber. There are people, as you well know, that are millionaires because that was their passion that they went into. There's nothing bad about being a plumber or a carpenter or whatever. Somebody has to do it.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
You feel happy in what you're doing? Do it, and do it to your best.
So true. And you keep saying it like, if we've been rehearsing this, I can say that we've been rehearsing it together, but we are not. This is a live show, and this has not been rehearsed. But one of the things, if you want to succeed in life, go after what you really love and do it better than the other person who did it. So, yeah, so if you want to be a plumber and this is your thing and you love doing it, then learn how to be a good plumber. Learn how to be the person who people will want to hire to do their company plumbing. You know, don't be limited to like just doing whatever. You got to broaden your mind to think outside that box of like, oh, okay, so if I'm plumber, I'm only going to be working with like, you know, homes and, you know, whatever. Versus business to business. Look outside the box. How can you be more successful doing plumbing? If you got a contract with some big corporation, I mean, seriously, that's success to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, don't be like so, one of the things that I always say, don't be hard on yourself because, you know what, the bottom line is if you do what you love and you do it with love and you go with, you give it 100% or 110%, that extra step is what's going to make you the next best person. What's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you...
There's something that you kept repeating just a moment ago. It says, think out of the box, think out of the box. Okay, there's actually another way of putting it is, what box? The box you created. And I'll use this as an example. And you've probably seen this. This is kind of a test, but it's kind of done humorously. You put 9 dots in a square in the middle of a sheet of paper, such as, say, a regular sheet of typing paper or whatever. And you just put it right there in the middle of the paper. It doesn't have to be big, just maybe 3 by 3, 3 inches by 3 inches, and you get a square. And you've got this 8.5 by 11 inch paper. And you just put these 9 dots there, and you tell a person, connect those 9 dots. A line goes through each one of the dots, and all 4 lines have to connect twice. And I love to do this and just watch people work with this, and they're trying to do this, and they can't do it. The point is that actually they're trying to make a square box that works with those 9 dots in a square.
Mm-hmm.
And when you actually show them that if you think outside of the box that you created in your own mind, you can do this 4 straight lines that connect twice. But you have to go out of the imaginary box that you created, because I gave you a whole sheet of paper. You can draw these lines anywhere and connect them twice with only 4 lines.
And you know what? You said it beautifully, Kirk. And you know what? That goes back to that masterpiece that you can create. Okay, so most people just say, oh, like, I don't know. I never put myself in the box. I don't think in the box. I never thought about it that way. And it's such a cliche because everybody says, think outside the box, think outside the box. Well, the thing is, the box represents your limitation that only you had created. So if you don't want to, let's not use the cliche of outside the box. Outside the box is, reason I say it all the time because people are familiar with it. But the thing is, your box or the box that we say, that you represents like you in there and just like, you can't move because you in a box. But that box represents where you see your life too. So, like I play, I don't play, it's not about a play. I present the artwork theory or, practice that I do with the clients all the time, and it's very effective. I learned it from somebody who had written a book years ago, The Master Key System, Charles Hunnell. And I've learned this exercise from things that I learned from his book, reading it, 26 weeks of exercise. And one of the exercises, it was really, again, sitting in a quiet place and trying to imagine this artwork, right? And he basically, the way he does it differently than I do. He says, like, for instance, take a picture, any photo, and do it like a physical picture. Don't just look online. I think things are physical, have more power to them. Like, it's the same thing with writing. Don't just type on a computer, write on actual physical notebook or journal. It has a lot more weight to it. Trust me. I do it all the time, and I can tell you stories and stories about things that had manifested in my life because I've written them down somewhere, okay? Because I'm giving power to them. So anyway, the bottom line is, so he told you to look at this photo, right? And then he told you to really, really examine this photo. And this is what we're talking about, focus. You know, when we, you know, in the world of creating goals and setting goals, your first thing in the goal setting is to have a focused goal, right? So you got to be focused. So he says, focus on the photo for at least a couple minutes. Look at the detail. Look at the hair. Is like if you're looking at somebody's in the photo, right? Look at the hair. Look at the eyes. Look at the mouth. Look at the clothes. Look at everything surrounding that photo, in that, you know, surrounding that person. And what you see, just keep it in your mind. And then after a couple minutes, close your eyes and try to re-examine the pictures in your mind, what you saw. And if you can't do it, that means you are not focused. So the key is to your success or your goal setting is to stay focused. Now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. So take a look. What is stopping you? What is going on in your life? So if you want to use that masterpiece that you're creating or the artwork that's called your life, look at yourself. Try to see where you're at in that photo. Are you in the place where you want to be? And look around that person that is you in that photo or that artwork and see what is stopping that person from going to the green side versus the side that is so gloomy and so whatever depressing. Where are you? Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself there? And then look and see. It's like, is there a car in front of you? Is there a tree in front of you that's stopping you from walking to the right place? And these are only like hypothetically speaking, but I just want you to broaden your mind to think really outside whatever it is that is limiting you, to broaden yourself, to expand in every direction, up and out. You know, don't be just like, you know, just saying, you know what, I can't see the way. I hear that from many people that I work with. I just can't. Why can't you? Well, because this is in my way. But that is actually the first step to succeeding, recognizing that you have that tree in front of you. That's why you can't get behind that tree, because the tree is blocking your way. So when you realize your obstacles, you will be able to find that action step that's going to help you to figure out how you're going to get it around that tree. But if you don't know and you can't see the tree and you're denying the tree exists, then you will be stuck in that box that you created for yourself.
I don't know if you heard me chuckling over here, but I was thinking about what you're saying and going, if using your example, you know, I can't do it, something's in my way. And I have a theory in my own life, which is either I go over it, around it, or under it. But somehow I'm going to get past it. But I had to add something else in my life at some point where it's like, I'm not giving up, but I need to stop trying to do something and just sit back for a moment and see what I can do. And sometimes when you take that moment to sit back, it's just like sitting down and then it moves past you and then you get up and go, wow, okay, cool, now I can keep going. But the point basically is don't quit.
Right. And, you know, that's, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I completely hear you out, and I think that is so true. And one of the things, you know, that I like to emphasize on again is the fact when you examine your position in life right now, where you at right now, it's the most important thing you can do for yourself to move forward. If you don't know where you are, I mean, let's say, I say this all the time on my show, I say it on other people's show when I'm on there. If you're thinking about traveling and you set your GPS, how does your GPS work? A point of start and then point where you're going, right? So if you don't know where you're starting, how the heck are you going to find your way to whatever you want? So it's very, very important to recognize your position right now, where you're at, okay, so you can navigate to where you want and make the plan to get there. Okay, so when I put my GPS, and now GPS again, you know, I mean, again, this is like, you know, hypothetically speaking, you know, to give an example like that. So when you set your GPS, some GPS are very, advanced, and they tell you like where there's construction, where there's like traffic, jam or whatever it is. I live in a metropolitan area, so we always concerned about these things. But these things, the traffic jam, the constructions, and all these things are nothing but obstacles that prevent you from getting to where you want in the time that you said you want to get to. Or you might not be able to get there because the road is closed. How many times have you driven? And I really say this is logically, okay? This is real. It happens. I've driven so many different places where I know where I'm going. I don't set my GPS because I know where I'm going. I know the route, and I know, where you find yourself at a dead end because that road is under construction. It's closed. You can't navigate anymore. You need to go back to your GPS because your GPS is going to reroute you, right? So that's what I'm talking about. If you don't use what you have as tools first within you, just say, you know what, we're all smart. Nobody is stupid, okay? I don't think anybody's stupid. We can play stupid because we choose to. That's a choice, and I'm sorry if I'm talking like this, but I think, it's real, I'm not trying to be somebody this is real. This is real conversation with real person that I'm talking with, Kirk. He understands these things, so I hope nobody gets offended. But the thing is, we can just say, you know what, that construction, that road closed doesn't exist, and I'm going to get where I am because I'm in denial about all the rest of the stuff that is out there. Like, I don't believe in obstacles, and I'm just a go-getter, or I'm going to get there. Well, good for you. And that works for you, that's fantastic. But the majority of the time, you're going to get stopped in your place, and you're not going to be able to move forward.
No, I don't take offense to it, and I hope nobody else does. Matter of fact, Coach Rea hears me say this quite often. People always come up to me and say, "Oh, you're crazy," and they do it in a funny way, and I go, "Yes, I'm crazy. I'm not stupid, but I'm crazy."
True.
In other words, I'm enjoying my individuality. My individuality can make me burst out laughing at some of the craziest times, but it's something that you said, and I think of it in a different way, maybe in a very obscure way. But the point is, celebrate being who you are. Is Coach Rea saying, you're not stupid. Somebody might try to make you feel that way, but do you accept that? We're going to take a break here for about 2 minutes, and we're going to come back with Coach Rea, and we're going to continue on. I'm going to ask her something about something she just put up on her website just not too long ago. So stay tuned, and also if you want to call in, you can call in on Skype. You can see the icon on our window. You can call in on Skype, or you can call in on our telephone line, which is area code 347-677-0812. Once again, the phone number is 347-677-0812. Stay tuned. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Batzion Saskine-Sachs of www.bat-zion.name, N-A-M-E. You're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio with Kirk Spencer.
Hi, this is Pat Kammer, author of Love's Voice Changes You, Book 1. And I now have Book 2, which is called Hello Awesome, Message from Spirit in Pat's Patters. Buy your book from Amazon.com.
Do you get writer's block or tongue-tied when you try to write or talk? Need a wordsmith for a script, article, or research paper? Let K-Wave 6 Productions help you with all of your audio, visual, editing, and language translation needs for your business or hobby. Does the thought of creating a website give you chills? We also have webmasters to help you with all your website needs. Remember K-Wave 6 Productions. www.kwave6productions.tk or email us at info.kwave6productions.tk.
Hi, this is Duke Mayo Rockefeller. Please check out my humanitarian organization, www.livechildlive.org. You are listening to K-Wave 6 Radio with our esteemed radio host, Kirk Spencer.
Boy, calling me esteemed, that kind of gets me. Anyway, before we get back with our guest, Coach Rea, I just wanted to, reemphasize, you can give us a call if you're listening. Once again, the telephone number is area code 347-677-0812, or if you want to use Skype, just press the Skype icon on the window of the show, and we can take your calls and questions, comments, whatever. Also, just recently, Coach Rea just updated her website, and she put something on there that she has done on her show for years now, and she calls them guided meditations. Now, I'm going to use this in talking about what she was just talking about. Guided meditation is that time where you're, I'm going to give the lead in, if you don't mind here, Coach, giving the guided meditation is actually using your GPS, saying, this is where I want to go. This is how I want to get there. But also in learning in your life, and it's not something that you have to do. Use the words have to. You don't have to do this sitting at home. You can do this while you're in the car. Say you get stuck into that traffic jam and you're getting impatient and you're beating on the steering wheel and move, I got to get there. And sometimes you just have to learn when to stop and just go, maybe there's a reason for this, and I don't mean that somebody just had an accident on the road or whatever the case may be. It's just I need to stop because there could be any number of things that could happen to you or happen for you. You can take that on the positive side on your journey. So knowing when to stop, when to pause, when to turn, whatever the case may be. Maybe you just needed to hear something on the radio at that moment, and if you kept driving and doing whatever, you would have missed it. There's any number of things that can happen. Just learning to navigate your way through, as Coach Rea said at the beginning of the program, there's any number of things that can happen in your life. And setting a goal is just one idea, but knowing when to turn, when to yield, when to stop, it's just like playing football, soccer, or anything else that you play or watch, just knowing when to make the move into a certain direction. Life is like a chess game.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's right. I was just asking you to continue from there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I appreciate you elaborating what I said. And one of the things, about life is amazing, but life is also, if there is no challenge, I don't think we're alive, right? So I look at it this way, there is a degree of challenges that people faces on a daily basis, and I am not here to make it softer and easier or whatever. But because some of them are, they could be difficult for some people. And you know what? They're so deep in it. We talked about, like, putting the shovel down. If you find yourself so deep in the hole, the first thing you need to do is put that shovel down. Because if you keep digging, you're going to have a hard time getting out of there, right? So, when life throws so much at you and you realize, you know what? It's okay. I want to read something by Robert Anthony. Is that Robert Anthony? Or Anthony Robert? What's his name? There is a quote that I love about what he said. He said, if you try to figure out how you will get what you want, you will limit yourself to what your ego or conditioned mind can do. The key to creating what you want is to turn your desire or your goal over to your subconscious mind, which is connected to the universal mind or universal subconscious, and let it bring the goal to you and you to your goal. So what I'm saying here, and it sounds so easy, right? The reason I love this, because we get so focused on the how. How am I going to dig myself out of this hole, right? The how is not going to get you out of the hole.
I call it focusing on the details.
Right.
Everybody wants to, I want to do it this way, and if it goes off this track, I can't figure out how to do it. I have to be on this track. Hey, change tracks. Just keep going.
Let go. Let go and let it be. I can tell you those two simple sentences. Let go and let it be, because I am telling you, when you believe in yourself and believe in that we live in a friendly universe, I'm not here trying to sell you on spirituality and whatever and try to get you to think about if I wash for something, it's going to happen, because it doesn't. It doesn't. That's why the law of attraction doesn't work for most people. It's working all the time. But when you try to use it to create things, thinking about Back to the Secret, the movie, what people thought, it's if I can sit down on my couch and wish for $1 million, it's going to appear the next day. That's never going to happen. Okay? You might get that couch taken away before anything can happen. You know what I mean? That you're sitting on. So you gotta think outside that, whatever it is that you're limiting yourself again. Because if you're thinking that you put in all your eggs in one basket, we hear that expression, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Think about all the different possibilities. Think about where some of these things can appear for you, or where you can use some of the tools to help you get out of that hole, or to help you achieve that goal that you want, or to help you take that next step to whatever it is, the next step. So think about the place that you are right now, where you're standing right now, and don't think beyond that first step. Because when you take that step, like Dr. Martin Luther King, you take it in faith, you don't have to see the whole stairway, right? As long as you take that first step in faith, knowing that you are moving forward. That's all that matters. Take step at a time, one baby step, and realize, you know what, that's all I can do right now, and that's all I can do for today. And one of the things, when we talk about managing your time, we're talking about planning, reaching goals or setting goals or whatever, and people create to-do lists on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or whatever they do, their to-do list. I can tell you, throw this out the door or out of the window, wherever it is. You don't throw things out the door because you have to open the door to throw it out. Throw things out the window. And the reason I'm saying that, because if you make a to-do list, you're creating stress in your mind, because now you're crunching time and you're crunching things on your list that could not be very, important. Okay, so what do we do with this? Instead of creating a to-do list, create a priority list, okay? And those priority lists, every single item on that list should be important to you. And how do you know it's important to you? So I ask you, Kirk, or you ask me, it's like, hey, Rea, create a priority list. I'm like, okay, cool. So I put on, it's like, okay, well, I need to go meet with this person today. I need to go to the grocery store. I need to pick up my son from school. I need to do this. So I can list all the stuff. Now, the second important thing is to actually read what you put down. And look at it. And does number one in the right place? So is that going to the grocery store should be your priority? Absolutely not. What's my priority? Meeting with my scheduled appointment, right? So my scheduled appointment is at 9 o'clock to be on Kirk, K-Wave radio, K-Wave 6 radio, and Freedom Talk radio. Then that is my priority. That's my number one. And if I go through my priority list like this, and I take it one thing at a time, and then I would cross off the things that I can make sure that they not necessarily they need to be done today. I am lifting stress off myself, and I'm accomplishing more. See that? You're working less, you're accomplishing more. Why?
Indeed.
Because you focus. You focus, you're mindful, you know exactly what's important, what is not. So going to the grocery store, unless I needed milk for myself or my son or whatever, and that's really important because he's out of milk, it should stay on that priority list. But it's not important. It's not a matter. I mean, nothing has to be an urgent to be on the priority list. But you got to be conscious of it. You got to be really mindful of it. Is it important? How important is it for me to get it done today and to make sure it's done today? So from the measurement, from 1 to 10, 10 being the most important, right? So if you say it's a 2, then that number or that item should be moving down the list. And if you say it's a 9, it should move back up. You see what I'm saying? And it takes is just a matter of being mindful of your everyday things, of your everyday. One of the meditation I just did, and the things that you probably don't, necessarily we don't talk about it all the time. Since I am an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, I actually do a lot of hypnosis sessions with some of my clients to get them to focus on certain things that they want. And this is, in combination with like setting goals and understanding what the goal means and why we're setting that goal. So when I work with clients on these things and they are open to do an self-hypnosis session with me, they understand deep to their subconscious level what is really important to them and trying to help them embedded these things in their mind. So that's why, like affirmation, meditation, being mindful, like every few minutes in the day, you don't have to close your eyes all the time to be, at that stage of mind. You can do it at any time. And one of the things that I wish I had uploaded so you can listen to part of the meditation I just done recently is it was really all learned from Jose Silva. I'm very fan of Jose Silva and the their teaching and all the stuff. His daughter Laura, she's the one who handles the business now. But I've learned so much from them, and nothing original that I do. It's all from what I've learned, and I am telling you, it's very powerful. So at the level, like when you're driving, right? So I used to be one of those, again, I live in a metropolitan area where traffic is could be very heavy, and you can get annoyed, and people get like road rage and all this stuff in big cities, right? You understand, you lived in Chicago. So with that being said, I used to be so like self-absorbed in that sense. Like I get upset when somebody cut me off. I get, I'm not the one to like, give somebody's finger or do anything like that. But I used to get upset. And now I teach my client, because that's how I learned myself. Like even when I'm at a traffic light, the tail light, the red light that I'm looking at in front of me helps me to relax. Mm-hmm. So I'm at a different, you see the difference? When you train yourself to think differently, when you train yourself to ease yourself, because let's face it, if something is out of your hand, it should be out of your mind. If it's not within your doing, that, traffic is like crazy out there, and you just have to understand that everybody on that road is trying to get somewhere too. So why can we just, even, there's still people out there who are obnoxious and they do crazy things on the road, but don't let it affect you. Don't let it allow it to affect your state of mind. And you do that by practice. Nothing happens overnight. I have been practicing this for many years before I even started my company. And I have to tell you, practice does makes us perfect.
Oh, yeah. With that, I'm going to take our last break, and I got a surprise for you in this break here, Coach Rea. So stay tuned with us, and if anyone is there, I see a couple of people online, but if you want to call in, please do call in during the break or just after the break. We're about to close the show in about 15 minutes, so give us a call, because we're going to ask Coach Rea to do final thoughts, and when that happens, no callers. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back in about a minute.
Hi, this is Lisa Avebury, and I am with Sacred Introvert Retreat Tours. We're heading off to Glastonbury this May, and we hope you'll join us. So check it out, sacredintrovert.com. And I'm at K-Wave 6 Radio, and I'm feeling super honored and blessed to be here. Have a beautiful day.
Are you ready to put an end to thinking about how you wish it were and take action? Take this step to find out more by going to coachingbyrea.com. And you can receive your free consultation session with Coach Rea. Coach Rea is a certified professional life coach with a passion to help make the difference in the world.
Hi, this is Al Sussman, the author of Changing Times, 101 Days That Shaped a Generation, published by Parading Press. and you're listening to the always interesting Kirk Spencer on K-Wave 6 Radio.
Well, there's your surprise, Coach Rea, and anybody just missed the commercial, by all means, go to our webpage and click on the advertisers page, and you'll find Coach Rea's site right there. You just click on the thumbnail picture, and it'll take you directly to our website. So,
thank you.
Coach Rea has always been an advertiser on this show, so this is one of the pleasures of having her on the show. So, anyhow, in our last 13 minutes here, Coach, what do you have for us?
Well, again, life is a great adventure, and look at it as an adventure. Don't look at it as, whether the ups and downs or whatever it is that happens. Take it as an adventure and go on that trip. Go on the trip with ease and grace. And instead of worrying about what people say about you or how you spend your time and what do something that people will remember you by or admire you by. I always say, be the person that you admire the most. Be the person that you admire the most. Don't be someone else. Be the person you admire the most.
Indeed. Definitely. Yeah. Well, that should be your goal in life, which is be the person you want to be. In other words, if anybody's following the podcast that I do, or even the blogs that I do, is what Coach Rea is saying is what I take from Mahatma Gandhi, which is be the change you want to see. In other words, if you want to be a successful person, you have to think and act like a successful person, not sit there and wish it would come to me. I'm just sitting here waiting. No. There are things that will come to you. Yes, I'm not saying that nothing will ever come to you, but if there's something that you want to participate in, you're the one who has to set the goals. And then, is my way of thinking and my way of doing my life is some things I do write down, as Coach has been talking about, writing down what you want, putting it there, and in my own meditation or prayer or whatever, and saying, this is what I want to get, and in a very general way of putting it, and letting the universe make it happen for you. But you have to keep the goal going. If you just say, well, this is what I want, and just go, oh, okay, now I'm going to wait. No.
Yeah, like what Jim Rohn says, I'm a big fan of Jim Rohn. He said, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you will fall into someone else's plan. And guess what? Yeah. They have planned for you. Not much. You know what? I mean, so again, you have to be, I always say, think for your own self. I tell my son all the time this, and I practice what I preach all the time. Think for yourself. Don't think, when you want to be successful in life, first of all, if you admire somebody, don't be them. Be the better version of them, okay? So like I would say, it's like, I'm aiming to have my own TV show, and I'm like, I don't want to be the next, okay, you're going to be the next Oprah. No, I'm going to be the better version, you know what I mean? Because that's who I am. It's not, I'm trying to be somebody else. Learn what makes other people successful, and then create the life that you will want for yourself. Does that make any sense? Yeah. So instead of like saying, you know what, I just want to be, Oprah, or I want to be, whatever. Some of the people that I think in the business that I really admire, or whatever. No, I would still want to be me. You know what? Because everybody else is taking. Be you.
Yeah,
be
exactly.
You.
It's like, why do you want to be Oprah? Oprah didn't say, I want to be Oprah, and she didn't say, I want to be somebody else. She wants to be herself. She created her own, if you will, dynasty just by being, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to accomplish. And let me throw something in here. We only have about 7 minutes to go. But, Coach, in our day where we're having so much problems with the economy, it's actually pushing people to either be independent or become homeless or become a slave to a job. And this is what really irks me about everything else, because now that if you have a job, just over broke, you're one who's just going, okay, I'll do whatever it takes to keep the income so I can support my family. So basically, you have unwillingly become a slave. How do we take that, what we've just been talking about, and make it for people to say, hey, I don't have to be a slave. I can, and you got about 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Well, again, it goes back to where you're standing right now. Okay, you got to be grateful for what you have first. And the book that I published last year, Your Life Your Way, the 10 Must-Have Goals to improve your life. I almost forgot my title of my book. It literally, I start with every chapter, which is standalone chapter pretty much, talking about, the 10 must-have goals to really improve your life. But in every chapter, I start with the same thing. You got to take a look at your life right now, and you got to be grateful for everything in your life, the stuff that is working and the stuff that is not working, okay? And when you fall, slave to a job or whatever, what does that job is doing for you? Is it paying your bills? So be grateful for that. Is it getting you, a roof over your head? What is that job doing for you? So yes, maybe you are a slave to that job, but then you will continue to be a slave to that job if you stay within your limitation. That means you cannot think outside that job because you feel like this is what I was born to do, and life, it is what it is. Have you ever heard that, where people say, well, this is how it is and it's my destiny? Your destiny is in your hands. So maybe you are a slave to a job right now and you feel stuck in that job or whatever it is. That's okay. Just think about the positive things, the things that are working for you from having that job. And just think about what is it that you can do right now to, first of all, you need to know what you like to do. I mean, if you don't have a passion, you will be slave to that job forever. And I'm sure every single one of us out there have a passion for something. You might call it a hobby, you might call it whatever it is. Get in touch with that passion within you. You do that through meditation, you do that through listening to some positive self-talk, that we do here I do that in my business, and, some of the stuff that I use with Dr. Shad Homesteader and some of Jose Silva and some of the other great people who teach us, Dr. Alden Taylor came on the show and talked about inner talk. It's the same thing like self-talk. What do you tell yourself? What do you tell yourself? And from that place, you start planning. Not to be a slave. Never be a slave to anything. Never be a slave to anything, okay? So when you get to that place in your mind where you realize, you know what, maybe if I take $20, and that $20 could be a huge for some people, right? Maybe if I take $20 a week and set it aside to invest in the things that I am passionate about, right? It starts with that little tiny steps that you're willing to take that you haven't taken in the past. Because remember, you haven't taken that steps in the past. So when you start taking that step forward, even you look back and just say, well, you know what, for 20 years, there's some people been in their same slave job forever, right? And they feel so stuck, and they feel like there is no way out. It doesn't matter. So look at it. Look at the things, the positive things that happen from having the job, and now think about the stuff that you do when you're not working that job. What do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? And take that next step to make whatever it is that you enjoy doing things of the future. But you know what? It might not happen overnight. It might not, well, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but it might not happen in a year. It might not happen in 2 years, because it really depends on how dedicated, how focused, what you're willing to do, what you need to do, and hold yourself accountable. That's the key. Because, again, I think a life lived with integrity and life lived with awareness is the life that most of us should really start focusing on.
Indeed. There's wonderful thoughts to actually close on, because, we need to actually remember gratitude, then plan. And if you don't have gratitude for what you have, then you're basically come from a point of anger. Before we close, because I have a few messages that I need to play before we close the show, Coach Rea, why don't you give us your website and where can we find you on Blog Talk?
Well, it's Your Life Now radio show with Coach Rea. And, of course, you can go to my website, yourlifenow.info, and you will find all the great stuff that we do there. And, Kirk, helps out in some of the things that we do. And actually, he helped me redesign a little bit my website and work on it a little bit. And that will also take you to my coachingbyrea.com. So you get a full picture of what we do, whether by going to yourlifenow.info or coachingbyrea.com. But the key is, when you need help, ask for it. And help is always there. And, we shouldn't be stuck. I don't think there is a reason for us to be stuck.
No, there isn't. Coach, I'm going to have to end the show right now, but I want to say my deepest gratitude for you being on my show, and especially for just being my friend. That is one of the greatest experiences I've had in my life. And
I'm grateful for you too. Thank you.
And we will be back again sometime again next year. We'll have you as a guest again. But before we go, I just want to remind everyone that next week and the following week, next week is Christmas Eve. I do believe Freedom Talk Radio is going to be taking over the show for that day. We're going to have a Christmas program. And on New Year's Eve, we might be doing something. Stay tuned. Watch our blog. You can also follow what's going on with the station here through freedomtalkradio.net, I believe it is. And we will resume K-Wave 6 radio broadcast, our normal broadcast, on January 7th. That's first Wednesday of the month. And we do have some great things planned for you for 2015. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on our blog. You can follow us on Twitter, or you can even like us on Facebook. Matter of fact, that's where you can find Coach Rea as well. So anyway, with that, thank you all for being here, and we're going to play our final message. And we'll see you soon. Take care, be well, have a great holiday season. As we close today's show, I want to thank you, the listener, for being with us today. Also, we ask that you follow our blog, Twitter, and Facebook links, and our Thoughts for Growth episodes, which air on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern. Links to follow us and to our media players can be found at www.kwave6, that's the number 6, radio.tk. Once again, that's www.kwave6radio.tk, or if you prefer, www.kwave6radio.wordpress.com. Also, check out what's happening at Freedom Talk Radio and SETV by visiting their site at www.freedomtalkradio.net. As always, all the best.